How to eat eggs correctly. If you have diabetes, to keep your blood sugar under control, consider for a moment the profound impact a single humble food, likely resting in your refrigerator right now, could be having on your metabolic health. A food that often costs less than $1 and has nourished humanity for millennia, seamlessly integrated into our breakfast routines. This unassuming item could be either a silent ally, diligently assisting you in the intricate dance of blood sugar management, or, conversely, an unwitting saboteur, subtly exacerbating your condition. The truly surprising revelation, however, isn't about the simple act of eating eggs at all. Rather, it hinges upon a very precise and often overlooked sequence of decisions you make when incorporating them into your diet. These decisions, so remarkably small, so effortlessly dismissed, frequently escape the notice of most individuals navigating life with diabetes, never prompting a second thought. Yet, these seemingly inconsequential choices possess the formidable power to dictate the difference between waking up to a daunting fasting blood sugar of 165 milligrams per deciliter, mg/dl, and experiencing the consistent relief of a 130 mg/dl reading day after day. As Dr. Franklin, I've dedicated countless years to exploring the critical nexus of nutrition science, the complexities of aging, and the nuances of metabolic health, with a specific focus on adults over 50 who are actively managing diabetes and striving to live with renewed energy, mental clarity, and genuine control over their health numbers. Today, my intention is to engage in a forthright, unvarnished discussion about eggs, not the kind shrouded in antiquated myths and unfounded fears, but a version rigorously supported by the most current scientific understanding and, crucially, validated by the tangible, positive outcomes I've witnessed in countless real people. I urge you to remain with me until the very end, as I intend to unveil a groundbreaking concept related to the precise timing of egg consumption, a topic seldom discussed but immensely impactful. This concept is intimately connected to your body's inherent morning hormone cycle, and once you grasp its mechanisms, your entire approach to breakfast, and indeed your daily metabolic rhythm, will be irrevocably transformed. Before we delve deeper into this vital information, I genuinely appreciate knowing your location. Please share your city or country in the comments below. Reading each one truly fosters a deeper connection with this incredible community we're building. Let us commence at the foundational level, for I've observed that the vast majority of misconceptions surrounding eggs and diabetes originate from a singular, colossal misunderstanding regarding the actual functioning of the diabetic body. Herein lies a fundamental truth that regrettably often goes unaddressed. When you are living with type 2 diabetes, your body's primary challenge isn't necessarily an inability to produce an adequate supply of insulin. In stark contrast, a significant number of individuals with type 2 diabetes actually produce a normal quantity of insulin, or in some cases, even an elevated amount. The more profound and insidious issue lies in the fact that the cells within your muscles, your liver, and your fat tissue have progressively developed a resistance to insulin's crucial signaling. Metaphorically, your body's pancreas is vociferously delivering the essential message to absorb glucose, but your cells, akin to someone having gradually lowered the volume on their hearing, have become partially deaf to this vital communication. While you might wonder, is this intricate cellular mechanism so pertinent to our discussion of eggs? It is because your breakfast choices, and more specifically, the strategic quantity of high-quality protein you deliberately pair with any carbohydrates, exert a direct, measurable, and profound influence on how sensitive your cells remain to insulin throughout the ensuing hours of your day. The scientific research consistently underscores this point. Consuming high-quality protein in the morning demonstrably aids in mitigating what scientists refer to as the postprandial glucose spike, that swift and often dramatic surge in blood sugar levels that typically occurs subsequent to a meal. Protein accomplishes this through two exceptionally potent mechanisms. Firstly, it effectively slows gastric emptying. This physiological process means that food exits your stomach at a more leisurely pace. consequently ensuring that sugar is released into your bloodstream far more gradually, resembling a controlled, gentle drip rather than an abrupt, overwhelming flood. This measured release prevents your system from being overwhelmed. Secondly, certain key amino acids inherent in protein, most notably leucine, which eggs provide in abundant supply, actively stimulate the pancreas to release insulin in a more judiciously timed and proportionate manner. In essence, protein harmonizes your insulin response, rendering it more precise and efficient rather than haphazard and chaotic. A serving of 2 large eggs offers approximately 12 to 13 grams of complete, high-quality protein. The term complete signifies that eggs contain all 9 essential amino acids that your body is incapable of synthesizing independently, making them an indispensable dietary component. Furthermore, what truly distinguishes eggs is their virtually non-existent glycemic index. They inherently do not elevate blood sugar levels on their own, not by a single point. However, and this is a critically important caveat, that pristine glycemic zero only retains its value if you prepare and consume them judiciously. The very instant you begin to fry them in generous amounts of butter, stack them upon slices of refined white toast, or accompany them with sweetened fruit juice, that inherent protective metabolic power begins to diminish, not because the egg itself has transformed, but because its surrounding context has been altered for the worse. Now let us squarely confront the colossal misconception that often overshadows the conversation around eggs: cholesterol. I am keenly aware that many of you carry the lingering advice, likely imparted by a medical professional perhaps a decade or two ago, that eggs were direct contributors to elevated cholesterol and thus presented a tangible danger to your cardiovascular health. For those living with diabetes, a condition that inherently heightens cardiovascular risk, this advice was understandably taken with utmost seriousness. In a well-intentioned effort to safeguard your health, you may have conscientiously eliminated eggs from your diet, opting instead for bowls of oatmeal and fruit, firmly believing you were making the unequivocally safer choice. However, the contemporary scientific consensus now paints a strikingly different picture, and it is imperative that you absorb this information with absolute clarity. For the vast majority of healthy adults, including most individuals managing type 2 diabetes, dietary cholesterol, the cholesterol ingested from foods like eggs, exerts a minimal, if any, discernible effect on your actual blood cholesterol levels. The more significant and detrimental architects of harmful LDL cholesterol are, in fact, refined carbohydrates, insidious added sugars, and industrially produced trans fats, not eggs. Indeed, compelling research published in the esteemed American Journal of Clinical Nutrition has demonstrated that the consumption of whole eggs actually enhances what scientists term cholesterol efflux capacity. This refers to the vital ability of your HDL, often lauded as the good cholesterol, to actively extract harmful cholesterol deposits from the delicate walls of your arteries and transport them out of your body, where they can be safely eliminated. Furthermore, a rigorous 2025 randomized controlled trial from the very same journal unveiled that when 2 eggs per day were incorporated into a diet specifically designed to be low in saturated fat, LDL cholesterol levels actually exhibited a significant decrease when compared to a diet high in saturated fat that notably excluded eggs. What these robust scientific findings unequivocally convey is a truth of paramount importance. The inherent problem was never the humble egg residing in your refrigerator. The true culprit resided in the cooking mediums we employed and the calorically dense, often inflammatory companions with which we mindlessly paired it. In plain, actionable English, the nutritious egg you regrettably banished from your diet may have, in reality, been your steadfast metabolic ally all along. I want to share the incredibly insightful journey of a patient whom I will refer to as Mary, whose personal narrative so perfectly encapsulates these principles. Mary sought my guidance at the age of 71. She had diligently managed her type 2 diabetes for nearly a decade, presenting as an individual of remarkable sharpness, unwavering discipline, and a profound commitment to adhering to every recommended health protocol. Despite her commendable efforts and consistent medication regimen, her A1C stubbornly hovered at 8.0% for 2 consecutive years, and her fasting blood sugar readings rarely dipped below 158 mg/dl in the mornings. When I gently prompted her to meticulously describe her daily routine, she articulated it with a quiet, almost wistful pride. Her mornings typically began at 6:30, followed by her prescribed medications, and then she would meticulously prepare what she affectionately termed her heart-healthy breakfast, a bowl of steel-cut oatmeal enriched with a tablespoon of honey and a half cup of vibrant blueberries, accompanied by a glass of cranberry juice she had painstakingly selected from the health food store, reassured by the "no added sugar" label. On occasion, she would indulge in a small, homemade whole wheat muffin. Mary, in every sense, had done her homework. She genuinely believed this meticulously planned breakfast was the epitome of a responsible, diabetes-friendly choice. It was imperative that I proceeded with the utmost care and respect, as I had no desire to invalidate the immense and genuine effort she had invested in her health. I made a simple request. I asked her to utilize her glucometer to measure her blood sugar precisely 45 minutes after breakfast, and then again at 90 minutes. When she returned the following week, her log unveiled a stark reality, a reading of 214 mg/dl at 45 minutes and 198 mg/dl at 90 minutes. Every single morning, this seemingly innocuous breakfast was catapulting her blood sugar well past the 200 mg/dl threshold. The oatmeal, even the supposedly superior steel-cut variety, was rapidly breaking down into glucose in the stark absence of any significant protein to buffer its impact. The tablespoon of honey, while natural, was contributing a direct infusion of pure, simple sugar. The no added sugar cranberry juice, despite its deceptive label, still contained a substantial 24 grams of naturally occurring sugar per cup, completely devoid of any fiber to mitigate its rapid absorption. And the whole wheat muffin, despite its wholesome reputation, was delivering yet another rapid carbohydrate load to her system. Her body was, quite literally, laboring excessively every morning before 8 a.m. My proposed intervention was remarkably straightforward. No dramatic dietary overhaul, no daunting lists of exotic foods, simply one fundamental yet profoundly impactful shift. I suggested she replace her traditional oatmeal and juice breakfast with 2 eggs, prepared without any added oil, a technique I will elaborate on shortly, paired with half an avocado and a generous handful of either sautéed spinach or sliced tomatoes. That was the entirety of the modification. Her medications remained unchanged. Her daily walks continued as before, and all other aspects of her routine were constant. Just 3 short weeks later, Mary returned to my office, her glucometer log already in hand, presented even before I had a chance to ask. Her 45-minute post-meal blood sugar reading now averaged a far more controlled 138 mg/dl, and her 90-minute reading had settled to an average of 124 mg/dl. She looked across the desk at me, her eyes alight with a mixture of relief and disbelief, and declared, "Dr. Franklin, I feel like someone finally turned on a bright light in a room I've been desperately trying to navigate in the dark for 10 long years." After a mere 4 months, her average fasting blood sugar had consistently dropped to 131 mg/dl, and her A1C had impressively decreased to 7.3%. Moreover, her total cholesterol levels had actually improved, reflecting a more robust cardiovascular profile. Beyond the numbers, Mary reported an unprecedented surge of energy after breakfast, a sensation she hadn't experienced in years, precisely because she was no longer subjected to that relentless blood sugar roller coaster every morning, which had previously left her crashing hard by 10:30 and frantically seeking a quick, often unhealthy, snack. This, precisely, is the profound power we are discussing, a solution that had been quietly awaiting her discovery, always within reach in her own refrigerator. Now, let us delve into the practical how. The segment I know many of you have been eagerly anticipating, because here is a fundamental truth I impart to every single patient. Merely understanding that eggs possess beneficial qualities is the crucial first step. However, the manner in which you prepare and strategically pair them is the ultimate determinant of whether you genuinely unlock and experience those profound benefits for your metabolic health. Let me meticulously guide you through this process. Firstly, regarding the optimal cooking methods, the undeniable gold standard for effective blood sugar management is eggs prepared entirely without any added fat. I recognize this may sound counterintuitive, given our ingrained culinary association of eggs with butter or oil in the pan. However, it's vital to remember that egg yolks inherently contain their own natural, wholesome fats. In a non-stick pan heated to a medium temperature, 2 thoroughly beaten eggs will cook to a beautifully creamy, soft scrambled perfection in approximately 2 to 3 minutes, requiring absolutely zero additional oil. The culinary result is not only delicious, but also metabolically pristine, with nothing introduced to complicate your body's delicate blood sugar picture. Boiled eggs are an equally superb option, and I wholeheartedly endorse them, particularly for individuals prioritizing convenience. You can effortlessly hard-boil a batch of 6 eggs on a Sunday evening, and they will remain perfectly fresh and ready for consumption in your refrigerator for 5 to 7 days. In the morning, simply peel 1 or 2, pair them with your chosen non-starchy vegetables and a serving of avocado, and your entire nutritious breakfast is ready in a mere 4 minutes. This approach eliminates all excuses and negates the temptation for shortcuts that might inadvertently compromise your health. Poached eggs are also a wonderful choice, though they demand a slight degree of practice to master. Again, no oil whatsoever is required. Just water, perhaps with a small splash of vinegar to aid the egg white in maintaining its structural integrity. If you appreciate the delicate texture of a poached egg, this represents a fantastic and metabolically advantageous option. What you absolutely must strive to avoid is frying eggs, even with a seemingly small quantity of oil or butter, especially at high temperatures. Some of you might be contemplating, but I use premium olive oil. Isn't that inherently healthy? And indeed, olive oil is genuinely a magnificent and beneficial food. However, here lies the critical nuance. Olive oil's most potent health benefits are realized when it is consumed cold or employed in low-temperature cooking applications. When you subject it to the elevated temperatures necessary for frying, you substantially diminish those valuable benefits while simultaneously introducing a significant caloric and fat load that, within the context of diabetes management, can temporarily exacerbate insulin resistance at the cellular level. Preserve your precious olive oil for drizzling generously over crisp salads and roasted vegetables. Secondly, and equally pivotal, is the strategic art of pairing your eggs. This is precisely where the true metabolic magic either unfolds or, conversely, where individuals unwittingly nullify all the profound good the egg was poised to deliver. Avocado stands as the single most exemplary companion for eggs within a diabetes-conscious breakfast. The monounsaturated fats abundantly present in avocado, the very same healthy fats lauded in olive oil, powerfully contribute to slowing the digestive process and significantly reducing the glycemic impact of any other foods you consume alongside it. Beyond their direct metabolic benefits, these fats also robustly support optimal heart health, a consideration of paramount importance for individuals managing diabetes. A serving of half a ripe avocado alongside 2 perfectly cooked eggs constitutes a combination that is supremely filling, extraordinarily nutritious, and genuinely stabilizing for your blood sugar levels. Spinach emerges as your next indispensable ally, and I wish to provide a very specific reason for its inclusion. Spinach is recognized as one of the richest dietary reservoirs of magnesium. Numerous scientific studies have consistently revealed that individuals with type 2 diabetes frequently exhibit lower magnesium levels compared to their non-diabetic counterparts. Moreover, this deficit in magnesium is directly and strongly correlated with impaired insulin sensitivity. Therefore, the regular consumption of spinach, particularly when integrated into a protein-rich meal, represents one of the simplest yet most effective strategies to rectify this nutritional gap. Tomatoes, vibrant bell peppers, savory onions, and earthy mushrooms are all unequivocally excellent additions. They are inherently low in carbohydrates, replete with beneficial fiber, and they substantially enhance both the volume and nutritional density of your meal without provoking an undesirable rise in your blood sugar. Conversely, what you absolutely must conscientiously avoid pairing with your eggs includes refined white bread, flour tortillas, sugary biscuits, starchy hash browns, artificially sweetened ketchup, highly glycemic orange juice, and processed deli meats such as bacon or sausage. These pairings are so ubiquitously common at breakfast tables that many people barely register them as deliberate choices. They simply feel like the default accompaniments for eggs. Yet, every single one of these additions either directly spikes your blood sugar or introduces inflammation-promoting saturated fats and excessive sodium, all of which actively work against your efforts to manage diabetes effectively. Thirdly, let us address the one crucial change that yields the most substantial difference, yet remains largely undiscussed: the precise timing of your egg consumption. I previously made a promise to unveil a concept linking egg timing to your body's natural morning hormone cycle, and here it is, a pervasive physiological phenomenon known as the dawn phenomenon. If you diligently monitor your blood sugar, there is a distinct possibility you have observed its effects without recognizing its scientific designation. It operates thus: in the critical hours just preceding your awakening, your body initiates a natural surge, releasing a symphony of hormones, cortisol, glucagon, and growth hormone, as an intrinsic part of its preparation to mobilize you from sleep and facilitate daily functioning. One of the direct consequences of this orchestrated hormonal release is that your liver commences releasing its stored glucose into your bloodstream, thereby elevating your blood sugar even before you have ingested a single morsel of food. For individuals without diabetes, the body simply responds by producing a slightly increased amount of insulin, quietly and efficiently managing this glucose surge without perceptible disruption. However, for individuals living with type 2 diabetes, this early morning glucose release can significantly propel fasting blood sugars to levels markedly higher than they were at midnight. Herein lies the critical nexus with eggs. What you strategically choose to consume for breakfast possesses the power to either significantly amplify or effectively dampen this morning cortisol glucose cycle for the remainder of your day. A breakfast laden with high carbohydrates essentially overlays another substantial glucose load onto the glucose surge your liver has already delivered. In contrast, a high-protein breakfast, with eggs serving as the undisputed star, transmits a profoundly calming signal to your entire metabolic system. It optimally nourishes your muscles without triggering superfluous insulin surges and actively dampens the inflammatory response that cortisol can provoke. The practical, actionable implication is clear and potent. Consume your eggs within a window of 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. Do not allow that critical morning cortisol window to run unchecked and unaddressed. Provide your body with vital protein early in the day, and your blood sugar curve for the entirety of the day will exhibit a measurably flatter and more stable trajectory. I want to introduce you to a gentleman named Robert, a 66-year-old retired school principal who sought my counsel concerning what he described as stubborn morning numbers. His fasting blood sugar readings consistently fluctuated between 145 and 165 nm/dL, despite his otherwise commendable daytime blood sugar control. Robert was, commendably, already incorporating eggs into his breakfast routine. However, his dinner each evening typically comprised a heavy carbohydrate meal, rice, pasta, or bread, served alongside whatever protein his wife had lovingly prepared. Additionally, around 9 p.m., he would often consume a small bowl of cereal, driven by a slight pang of hunger before retiring for the night. I introduced him to what I term the evening egg strategy, a highly effective approach I wish to share with you, as it directly addresses those persistent high morning fasting numbers. When you consume a substantial carbohydrate load in the evening, your liver is provided with an abundance of glucose to process overnight, and it consequently tends to over-release its stored glucose in the crucial early morning hours. However, when you intelligently replace that evening carbohydrate burden with a protein-centered meal, particularly one featuring eggs, your liver's overnight metabolic behavior undergoes a remarkable transformation. With less available glucose to process, its early morning release becomes far more measured, controlled, and metabolically favorable. I propose that Robert implement this strategy 3 nights per week, replacing his usual carbohydrate-heavy evening meal with a 2-egg omelet, generously packed with an assortment of vegetables, spinach, peppers, mushrooms, or whatever he had on hand, accompanied by a crisp, small green salad dressed simply with olive oil and vinegar. No bread, no rice, just eggs and vegetables. 3 nights per week. That was the entirety of the change. After just 3 weeks, his average fasting blood sugar had impressively plummeted from 158 milligauges DL to 137 milligauges DL. He was utterly stunned by the rapid and profound improvement. At his subsequent appointment, his primary care physician reviewed his home glucose log and, with genuine curiosity, inquired about which medication he had altered. Robert's simple reply was, "I started eating eggs for dinner 3 times a week." The doctor, to his credit, actually laughed, not unkindly, but with a palpable sense of genuine surprise. This anecdote perfectly illustrates a critical societal blind spot. We are simply not educated to perceive food as possessing such a targeted, measurable, and potent impact on our physiological markers. Yet, it undeniably does. Now, an exceedingly important point that I must articulate with utmost clarity as I approach this with profound seriousness. If you are currently undergoing insulin therapy, making a significant dietary alteration, such as incorporating high-protein meals in the evening, can indeed influence the efficacy and action of your insulin overnight. Therefore, I implore you, prior to making any dietary modifications of this significance, to engage in a comprehensive conversation with your personal physician or endocrinologist. Inform them explicitly of your intentions and dietary plans. Inquire whether any adjustments to your insulin dosage might be necessary. Good, transparent communication with your healthcare team is not merely optional, it is an indispensable and integral component of your overarching health strategy. Let me swiftly consolidate the most prevalent errors I observe individuals with diabetes making concerning eggs, because simply rectifying these common pitfalls alone will demonstrably shift the needle on your blood sugar numbers. Mistake 1. Cooking in oil or butter. Remember, the egg intrinsically contains its own natural fats. Cook it dry in a high-quality non-stick pan or simply boil it. This is a fundamental and easily implemented practice. Mistake 2. Pairing with refined carbohydrates. White toast, corn tortillas, sugary biscuits, these carbohydrate companions instantly negate the substantial protein benefit of the egg, creating an undesirable blood sugar spike. If you truly desire something alongside your eggs, opt for half a slice of genuine, dense whole grain bread, ideally with visible seeds, and consume it after you have eaten your eggs, not before, to minimize its glycemic impact. Mistake 3. Drinking juice alongside your meal. Even freshly squeezed, 100% natural orange juice delivers a significant and rapid glucose hit to your system, critically devoid of any beneficial fiber to slow its absorption. If you seek the vitamin C and other nutrients, prioritize eating the whole fruit, which provides fiber and a more gradual sugar release. Do not drink the juice. Mistake 4. Discarding the yolk. The yolk is an unparalleled nutritional powerhouse, containing vital choline essential for liver health, immune boosting and insulin sensitivity enhancing vitamin D, vision protecting lutein and zeaxanthin, and crucial B vitamins for optimal nerve function. Individuals with diabetes are especially in need of every single one of these precious nutrients. Embrace and consume the whole egg. Mistake 5. Eating eggs too late in the morning. Recall the dawn phenomenon we discussed. It is paramount to introduce protein into your system within 30 to 60 minutes of waking to effectively dampen that early morning cortisol-induced glucose surge, setting a more stable metabolic tone for your entire day. Here is your straightforward, ready-to-implement plan, commencing tomorrow morning. Upon waking, within that critical 30 to 60-minute window, prepare 2 eggs, either gently scrambled without oil or hard-boiled from a batch you've conveniently prepared the night before. Strategically pair them with half an avocado and a truly generous portion of any non-starchy vegetable you prefer, such as vibrant spinach, juicy tomatoes, crisp peppers, or savory mushrooms. Hydrate with pure water or unsweetened herbal tea. Make it a deliberate practice to consume the eggs and vegetables first. If, and only if, you still feel the need for a small piece of whole grain bread, eat it last, after the protein and fiber have already begun their work. That is it. Nothing exotic, nothing prohibitively expensive, nothing that necessitates a special excursion to a health food store. Should you find yourself desiring a mid-morning snack, a single hard-boiled egg, accompanied by a small handful of walnuts or almonds, represents your most blood sugar stable option. This intelligent snack will sustain you comfortably until lunch without triggering an energy-depleting crash. I wish to conclude with a poignant reflection Mary shared with me during her 6-month follow-up appointment. I inquired about her feelings regarding the profound changes she had implemented, not merely the impressive numerical improvements, but how she genuinely felt upon waking each morning. She paused thoughtfully for a moment, then articulated, "For the first time in years, I'm not afraid of my breakfast. I used to dread checking my blood sugar after I ate because I always knew it was going to be high, and I never truly understood why, especially when I was trying so incredibly hard. Now, I check it, and I feel proud, not necessarily of the food itself, but of the empowering fact that I finally possess the correct, actionable information." That powerful sentence resonated deeply with me because that is, at its core, what this entire conversation is truly about. It's not simply about eggs. It's about restoring to you a profound sense of agency and control over your own health trajectory. It's about meticulously replacing paralyzing fear with empowering knowledge and supplanting frustrating helplessness with a practical, science-backed strategy that genuinely works. Your body is emphatically not your adversary. It has diligently been doing its utmost with the physiological signals it has been given. When you consciously provide it with superior signals, the right protein at the opportune time, thoughtfully paired with the right complementary foods, it responds, often with a swiftness and efficacy that will astound you. Begin this transformative journey tomorrow morning. 2 eggs, prepared without oil, half an avocado, and a generous, colorful pile of non-starchy vegetables. Consume this within an hour of waking up. Then, I eagerly await your return here next week to share in the comments what your numbers looked like. If this video has genuinely furnished you with something tangible today, a fresh perspective, a novel idea, a singular piece of information you hadn't encountered before, please consider giving it a heartfelt like. This simple gesture takes but 1 second and powerfully signals to me that this caliber of content is valued and warrants further creation. And crucially, please share it if you know someone, a spouse, a sibling, a cherished friend, who is tirelessly struggling with their blood sugar, feeling as though they have exhausted every conceivable option. Please send them this video. For sometimes, all it takes is that one pivotal piece of information arriving at precisely the right moment to fundamentally alter everything. This video is presented solely for educational and informational purposes. It is not intended to serve as medical advice and unequivocally does not supersede the personalized guidance of your personal physician or healthcare team. Always, without exception, consult your doctor before making any significant changes to your diet, especially if you are currently taking medication for diabetes or any other medical condition. I will eagerly anticipate seeing you in the next installment. Take exceptional care of yourselves. You profoundly deserve it.